this is the status quo of how the web works at the moment. So as we can see, we have many siloed content platforms, and for each platform they have a bunch of users who are able to publish to this platform. For example, X or YouTube, Reddit, or even Amazon Marketplace. And whenever people publish to these platforms, the platform then has the power to decide which content is then going to be available to the users. So this can be filtered, it can be monetized, but more importantly, the problem is that all of the users and all of the content is locked into each individual platform. So this means that there's not a lot of incentive to innovate. Each platform is just it's like it's its own monopoly. So how do we fix this? So with Web3 blockchain anchored content platforms such as the Acuity platform that I'm developing, so each user can publish onto an Acuity content chain, and this is a permissionless process. And then anyone can create an app. So this is also a permissionless process. So every app can use all of the users and all of the content from the platform. And of course, each app will work in a different way. They have their own priorities. So each app can filter content in their own way. They can add sponsorship in their own way. But the key thing is that the users always have a choice. So if someone creates a new app, the users can switch to using that app to consume their content, and all of the users and all of the content on the platform will then be moved to the new app. And because this is blockchain based, so this isn't something that anyone has the power to switch off. There's been examples in the past with Twitter and Reddit where they used to be more open. They would have open APIs, and then later on they switched off these APIs. With the blockchain, it always works. It's an eternal API. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little demo of the Acuity app that I've been developing. So the first thing I will do is unlock my account that I've already created, but this is a brand new account, so no content has been published yet. So the first thing I can do is put in my name, say it's going to be a personal account, give my location, okay, building decentralized social media, and I'm just going to pick a little directory like this. Okay, there's my profile picture, and I'm going to save that, and we can see that this is now being published. So the files themselves are published via IPFS, and then this is anchored on the test Acuity blockchain. And the next thing I want to do is to create a feed. So this can be something like an RSS feed, or a blog, or something like an X feed, something like that. I'll just call it my feed about cats. And I'll just keep it very simple. So I've created that feed, and so I will put my first post into this feed. Okay, I can do that, and I'll just add an image, publish that. So this is the content item. But if I go to my profile, I can see my feed, and then within my feed, I have that post. And any user can emoji react to any piece of content. And also, any piece of content can be commented on. So for example, let's say I don't like cats, I like dogs. I can publish that. So now we have a content, and all of these comments are hierarchical. So I can say, really, what is wrong with cats? So we've got our hierarchy of comments. Each comment can have an emoji reaction. And in addition, so every piece of content can have multiple revisions. So I can say, update, actually, I like cats too. So now this is, by default, it's displaying the latest revision, but I can actually just switch back to the original revision. So everybody can see the full revision history. And of course, it makes sense that the emoji reactions are actually, they are for specific revisions. So I hope this gives you an insight into what is actually possible if we build our platforms to publish on IPFS and having all of the business logic on the blockchain. So this will enable massive amounts of creativity. Okay, and finally, I'm just going to give you an overview of all the Acuity blockchains that are going to be running. So of course, in this age of AI, it's very easy to make multiple chains, and it makes sense in the Polkadot ecosystem where each chain has a specific function. This way you can maximize the transaction throughput and minimize the transaction fees. So the Acuity chain, so this is actually the one that's already running. So this is intended for people to create their profiles that will actually be used by all the other chains, and it provides the basic feeds functionality. So that's for something like X or YouTube, RSS, just any content that is feed-based. For the ACT chain, so that's Acuity Topics. So this is for content where discussion is based around specific topics. So this can be something like Reddit, where you have topics of discussion, or something more like a conventional web forum, such as the Discourse forum system. ACW will be the Acuity Wiki. So essentially, this is a decentralized Wikipedia. And so this is something that's really exciting. We can really build a decentralized wiki app that publishes via the blockchain, and that can be something really incredible. ACL is Acuity Locations. So this is essentially a decentralized means for publishing information about locations, and then this can be brought together into a mapping app. So just being able to always, you can always publish information about any location with the GPS coordinates and so on, have a system of reviews and comments that's fully auditable. That's really powerful. And ACC will be Acuity Code. So this is a decentralized version of GitHub or GitLab. And of course, we know that GitHub has been having very poor uptime stats recently. It's been as low as 90%. If you're publishing via the blockchain, then it just works like a machine. It's not going to go down because it's an autonomous system. And of course, in the age of AI agents, it's going to be really exciting for agents to be able to work on code and be publishing updates via the blockchain. Next up is the ACR. This is the Acuity repository chain. So the idea with this chain is that instead of using these centralized databases for software and source code like we do at the moment, this can be published via the blockchain. And so this means that it's completely reliable. You don't have to worry about the system going down. So this is actually another really great match for blockchain technology. The ACF is the Acuity funding chain. So any creator, whether that's someone making music or film or a software creator, of course these days everything can be pirated and recreated with AI. So the key thing for monetization is the brand. And so being able to have a brand token or NFTs in order to monetize creative works is very important. So that is what the Acuity funding chain is for. ACM is the Acuity marketplace. If you think about it, all of these online marketplaces like Amazon Marketplace, eBay, AliExpress, Shopee, they're really content publishing platforms. So it really makes a lot of sense to be doing this on-chain, and then of course we have payment mechanisms on the blockchain as well. And then finally is the Acuity AI chain, AAI. And because all of these blockchains are DAOs, so they're decentralized autonomous organizations, so they need to make decisions all the time. And of course, normally this is put to public vote in various ways where people can vote with their coins or they can elect people into positions of power. But actually a lot of decisions, they could be automated. So if a blockchain was able to reach out and request some AI processing and then get a response back and then use that to make a decision, that could be really powerful for using the blockchain as a decision-making engine. So these are all the chains that I'm going to be developing for Acuity, and I really want to build the developer ecosystem. So thanks very much for listening, and I'll make another video again very soon.